Are you trying to determine the correct amount of calories for your weight loss journey to be successful and sustainable, but are just unsure on how to go about that? A common thread that I see for a majority of both men and women is for them to drop their calories as low as possible when they're trying to lose weight, right? Maybe eating 1,000, 1,200 calories per day, in addition to increasing their cardiovascular training, things like running or biking or swimming, to just simply burn more calories. But then after like 2 to 4 weeks, what ends up happening is they throw in the towel because it's just so unsustainable. Like they just physically can't do that much movement and eat that few of calories. Well, if this is what you're trying to avoid, you are in the right spot. In this video today, we're going to talk about maintenance calories and why those are important, what those are, how many calories our body really needs. In addition, we're going to talk about how to find your maintenance calories, also how to find your calorie deficit or an ideal amount of calories to lose weight. And then finally, we're going to provide you with a few sustainable ways that you can actually reach your weight loss goals. I'm Noah Casella. I'm a registered dietitian and weight loss coach. Like this video so that it can actually reach more people and hopefully help more people. In addition, subscribe to this channel. If you are looking to lose weight and need like actionable tips and advice along the way, I'm releasing a new weight loss video on a new topic every single week. So definitely subscribe if that fits your bill. Lastly, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below because I can only go into so much detail on each of these topics. So I'm sure there will be a few comments that you guys will have, or at least questions, thoughts, and I look forward to replying to those. So let's start by talking about how many calories your body actually requires per day based on the amount of energy it uses. So this can be referred to as your maintenance calories, which might be more of a common term that a majority of people know, but this can also be referred to as your total daily energy expenditure. And this accounts for everything that you do throughout the day. This can count your heart beating, your digestive tract working, your brain thinking, your eyes seeing, your ears hearing, so on and so forth. So when we look at your total daily energy expenditure or your maintenance level of calories, right, we can break that up into two categories. We can break that up into your resting energy expenditure and your non-resting energy expenditure. So this is our total daily energy expenditure broken down into our resting energy expenditure and our non-resting energy expenditure. And as you can see here, right, in that bottom category, we have our basal metabolic rate, or our BMR. This is how many calories we are burning at rest. An easy way to think about this is I like to use the analogy of Sleeping Beauty, right? Sleeping Beauty is not eating, she's not thinking, she's not cleaning, she's doing nothing. She's laying there and sleeping beauty, right? And so there's really not much else going on. And so when we look at that, right, about 70% of the calories that we burn per day or we expend per day are used by our, basic functions, kind of things that are running in the background. Okay, great, right? The next category, right? The non-resting energy expenditure. This is all of those other lifestyle pieces that we were talking about. And this includes things like your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, the thermic effect of food, and your exercise activity thermogenesis. You can kind of see by the names what they each mean, but we'll go into a little bit of detail here. So your non-exercise activity thermogenesis is everything that includes your walking around, your going up and down the stairs, cleaning, showering, all of those fun things. So when we look at non-exercise activity thermogenesis, it's kind of all the lifestyle pieces that we have that don't involve exercise. The next piece, which would account for roughly 10% of our calories that we burn or expend per day, is going to be the thermic effect of food. The thermic effect of food, as it sounds, right, this is the amount of calories that it costs us to actually digest and break down food. When you think about it, right, you have to chew the food, you have to swallow the food, it has to go down your esophagus through a process called peristalsis, where it's kind of like squeezing the tube and squeezing that food down your esophagus, your digestive tract, right? All of that takes energy, and then breaking that down and sending it where it needs to go all takes energy. Finally, there's about the last 5, maybe 10% of the amount of calories that you burn per day are your exercise activity thermogenesis. So when we look at the total amount of calories that we actually expend per day, this is the makeup here, right? So when we look at energy expenditure and energy intake and how it affects our weight, we can categorize it into like 3 categories here. And so the first part, since we were talking about, right, our total daily energy expenditure and, right, how many calories our body actually needs per day, right, this is going to include everything that was in this section over here, where we have our basal metabolic rate, we have our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, our thermic effect of food, and our EAT. That 100% of calories is our total daily energy expenditure, right? If we eat equal amount to that expenditure, that is considered calorie maintenance or weight maintenance level of calories. And you can kind of see over here on the right hand side at the bottom bracket, or the bottom little box here, we have weight maintenance, right? Calories consumed is equal to calories burned. That means that we're equal to this area. Now, when we look at weight loss and a calorie deficit, right, the number of calories consumed are fewer than the number of calories burned per day. We are not eating the amount that would be required for our basal metabolic rate, for our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, thermic effect of food, or exercise activity thermogenesis. So we're shortcoming, right? We don't have enough for the total daily energy expenditure. We don't have enough calories coming in. So when we look at that, that's how this breaks down. The final and third kind of category we could look at here is weight gain, where we are consuming more than, right, we're burning per day, which is we are consuming more than the 100% of our total daily energy expenditure. Okay, so now that we have a good understanding about the maintenance level of calories, or the total daily expenditure that we are going to expend in like the different categories that those are going to be in, we're going to look at how are we going to identify this number for us specifically. Whether it's an online calculator or you do it out by hand, they're based on several factors. They're going to be based on weight, age, gender, height, activity level. All of these factors are going to play into how many calories we need per day. First and foremost, these are going to be the predictive equations that we use. This is one is called the Harris-Benedict equation. There are others out there as well that are just predictive equations based on the factors that I mentioned earlier. This specific equation, as you can see here, calculations for BMR resulting in kcals per day. So this is going to be for that, 60 to 70% of the calories that you use per day on the back end, right? Keeping your heart running, lungs, eyes, mind, digestive tract. This is going to be that first component that we were talking about. I'm not going to make us do these calculations. There's no point. In all reality, there are tons of calculators out there. So let's just look at a quick calculator. This is the first one I found on Google. I went ahead and plugged in my numbers, right? So 205, 5'11", I'm a 35-year-old male. And so roughly speaking, right, my basal metabolic rate needs, right, the Sleeping Beauty needs of me specifically is about 2,011 calories per day, just to keep the lights on, so to speak, right? Now, when we take into account these activity factors, which can be different and will be different for everyone, it's going to change those calories. So, for instance, if we don't use a lot of energy exercising and we're pretty sedentary, right? We'll look at that one, about 2,413 calories. Then we do that times a 1.2, which would be, exercising 1 to 2 times per week. That's going to be about 2,700 calories. Then we'll look at through 2 to 3 times per week, 3,117. Hard exercise 4 to 5 times per week, almost 3,500 calories. And finally, a physically active job and exercising 6 to 7 times per week. So this would be as if I was going to the gym 6 to 7 days a week and I was like working a construction job. I would need almost 4,000 calories just to maintain my weight. Eating 1,000 calories for somebody that's working a hard physical labor job and working out 6 times is just not feasible to sustain for a long period of time. So this is my point here. So finding your maintenance level of calories is going to give you a good standard to go by. So now that we understand what our maintenance level of calories are, what they mean, what they are doing for us, this gives us a good jumping point for our next section, which is understanding our calorie deficit. The calorie deficit, remember, is the number of calories that we're going to shave off in order to try and lose some weight. So we're going to eat under that maintenance level. Now, going extreme or going very aggressive in that deficit is going to make it much more difficult to be a sustainable path. We'll use our example here again. Let's say we are working out 2 to 3 times per week. I think that's pretty reasonable here. To say, right, in our original example of 1,200 calories per day, it's just not going to be feasible for us to sustain that, specifically for me. Now, we could use the example here and we can actually pull up a calculator and show us what that looks like here. So if we have 3,117 minus, let's say, shaving off 2,000 calories might be a little too aggressive. And so there is a thought process and a standard that a majority of people use, which would be about 500 calories, shaving off about 500 calories off the top. Anywhere between 250 to about 750 calories is the range of calorie deficit, right? Fewer calories than maintenance that is recommended by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. With that being said, though, I want to show you even a better way of finding your calorie deficit, and is by using the body weight planner. Using the body weight planner, which is from the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Disease. So what we can do here is we can do that same exact thing, right? We can put in our weight, which we said 205. We can say that we are male. In this case, I mean, please, if you want, leave some comments. I'll do some more of these videos with your calorie calculations and give you a little bit better an idea as well. So yeah, please leave a comment, and I would love to do that for you. Let's do age. We said 35, height 5'11", and then we can estimate our activity level. And this will give us a drop down here where we can say, we can divide it into two. What's our physical activity at work or school? And then what's our physical activity during like our exercise or leisure time? So, right, I'm pretty inactive. I work at a desk, I'd say light or very light. Industrial work, sales, office, work that comprises sitting at a computer desk most or all of the day. We could probably say light in this case. And then I'm pretty active. So I work out more than once a week, intense bikes. Yeah, I'd probably say active. Let's go ahead and say that. Puts me up to 1.7. We'll go to the next steps. Let's say I want to lose 30 pounds. Goal weight, which would be 75. In 180 days, I'm going to change my physical activity. Let's say I'm not going to do anything different. I'm just going to keep it the same. It's pretty close there, right? We can see that, 3,200 calories. I think this one said 3,117. So it's pretty close there. And then to reach my goal weight in that amount of time, about 2,377 calories, and then to maintain it would be about 280 calories. If we pull up the expert mode, this will actually pull up a chart for us, and then what we can expect for the weight loss per day. I think that this is such a useful tool. It's available to everybody. You can plug it in, you can play with some dates and see what might be feasible for you. Then look at the calorie intake, go from there and see if that's something that you can do. And it's not set in stone, right? You can change the number of days, you can change the weight. Such a great tool. I hope you guys use this when you're trying to figure out your own calories next time you do this. So at this point, we've gone through looking at the number of calories that we expend or use per day, and that's the number of calories we need to eat to maintain our weight. We've also identified how to look for or see what our basal metabolic rate is and find what our maintenance calories are based on our lifestyle, our body, our gender, our age, all those fun things. Then we also looked at how to look at our calorie deficits, like what could be the range, being very aggressive towards that range and its unsustainability, and then maybe being a little bit more moderate. And instead of using a calculator, we just used online tools in addition to using something like the NIH body weight planner, which allows us to tinker with the number of days that we want to be in a deficit, how long we want to reach our goal in. At this point, I think it's important now that we talk about creating a sustainable weight loss journey and what are some key factors that are going to help us with that. The first one that I'm going to share with you guys is actually going to be trying to consume a healthy, well-diverse diet that has a ton of variety in there. Now, this is going to do a few different things. First and foremost, having a ton of variety and a diverse diet is going to provide you with all of the micronutrients and nutrients, including protein, fats, and carbs, fiber, vitamins, minerals, healthy fatty acids like omega-3s and omega-6s, and also help you limit some of the nutrients like saturated fat and sodium so that you can meet all the nutrient requirements that your body needs on a daily basis and avoid those that typically we get in excess of. Yeah, eating a varied diet is going to be my first tip for creating a sustainable weight loss journey. Now, with that being said, I think a great resource here is using My Plate, so consuming the 5 food groups or the dietary recommendation for Americans, which would include eating fruits, vegetables, proteins, grains, and dairy. The second strategy for creating a successful weight loss journey, I think is programming your deficit. And what I mean by that is, right, have a start date, have an end date, and take that time in between seriously, right? What I see as a common thread is a majority of people will be like, oh, I'm in a deficit. And then like they go out for the weekend and they eat too much food. And then they're like, oh, I'm out of my deficit and I'm going to try and do it again. And like, it's just like this up and down battle, and it just gets you nowhere quick, at least. To be completely frank with you, dieting sucks. Like, you are hungry, you're not eating enough food, you're having to be really diligent, maybe not going out to eat with your friends or avoiding some of your favorite foods. Like, it's just not the best experience. What I say is kind of suck it up, deal with it, take it seriously, and have a short time frame window that you're actually doing this deficit within. You're intentional about this. And again, so you can use the body weight planner to kind of help you through this. So you can say, okay, great. I know I'm not going on vacation during this time. I'm not doing anything that's going to deviate this. So I can take this really seriously for the next 3 months, or I'd say upwards to 6 months. Anything longer than that, it might be a little difficult to maintain. And you just take it really seriously during this time. So programming your deficit and having a dedicated time and a serious plan to attack your goals going to be strategy number 2 for creating a successful weight loss journey. My final strategy for creating a successful weight loss journey is to create some sort of self-monitoring pattern. And what I mean by creating a self-monitoring pattern would be you have tools that are allowing you to kind of create checks and balances. For instance, right, you're stepping on the scale every day and you're seeing that, great, what I'm doing is working, or vice versa. What I'm doing is not working. I need to change some things. So that would be a great self-monitoring tool, would be regularly weighing yourself. Another self-monitoring tool that I typically love to recommend to folks is some sort of calorie tracking or macro tracking application where you're plugging in and you're logging all of your food. And while I'm not going to go into detail, I will show you what I do here. We can pull this up here. I use Chronometer. And so, right, I can see, great, I have this many calories per day. I have this many grams of protein I need to eat per day. I need this many grams of carbs per day and this many grams of fat. In addition, I can go ahead and look at all my vitamins and minerals that I'm eating per day as well. So you can see like how I'm doing this here, and like I can keep track of that as I move forward. Then I can use the feedback of the scale and be like, cool, am I aligning with my goal or not? And then I can adjust here to see, hey, if I shave back here or if I increase here, that would be, super helpful. That way you're not just like shooting from the hip and kind of blind as far as your goals and your success or lack of. Overall, we went through 3 real major points on setting up a successful weight loss journey, and that included what were maintenance calories, or what were the total daily energy expenditure that you were using per day. In addition to that, we found our maintenance level of calories using our basal metabolic rate and our activity level. That was all based on our factors, right? Our age, gender, height, weight, and activity level. Make a calorie deficit. We could just shave off, a few calories, or we could use something like the NIH's body weight planner that's going to allow us to kind of tinker with the days and the goals. In addition, we talked about 3 strategies for creating a successful weight loss journey, and those included eating a variety of different foods, specifically from the 5 food groups. That's going to allow you to get some of those micronutrients that you need and ensuring all the nutrient profiles that you need. We also talked about programming your deficit and making sure that you take that seriously, that period of time seriously. Finally, we talked about the strategy of self-monitoring, right? Using a scale or using a calorie tracking app to help you kind of get a feedback loop of what's working and what's not working. So I really hope that was helpful. Again, I'm Noah Casala. I'm a weight loss coach. Please like this video so that it can reach more people and hopefully, help someone else along their weight loss journey. And again, if you're on your weight loss journey right now, please subscribe to this channel, as I am releasing a new weight loss video every single week. I'd love to get some of your takes and some of your questions, and I can make more videos and content around that. Finally, if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I look forward to answering them or making another video on those questions. I am here to serve. I want to help. So let me know how I can. I look forward to hearing from you.